All right, hello. We are working currently on adding in the background trees to the winter section, which is exciting. And then we're going to go through all of them and add some snow, which will be great. And then the whole wall is done. That is crazy. Let's go. Okay, so we are going to be adding in a bit of contrast to the browns and especially creating this really light gray brown that we're gonna have as our distant trees for the winter forest. So I wanted it to be a nice cool color that's really gonna fade off into the distance. And for these narrower trees, we're really just using our brush and going straight up and down and then wiggling it in any deeper cracks that we see. We're also going to use this same color to create some highlights on the closer trees. So since a bit of the time-lapse footage here was lost, you can see what the snow is going to look like on some of the distant trees. I'm really just taking the lightest color from the tree behind it and using that to create this kind of snow pattern. And the texture on the concrete worked so amazing for this. It was so fun to paint. It was really, I just loved it. Anyway, so I'm just kind of having my brush softly loaded with thicker paint, not very watery paint, and dragging it across the concrete to try and create this depth. And I'm keeping all of the snow on the right side of the trees. This is actually mostly because I'm right-handed and I found it easier to paint this side. And but keeping to one side of the tree, in the winter, snowstorms always kind of hit the trees from one direction. This kind of gives a uniformity to the whole forest. Okay, we have done a ton on the winter scene this afternoon. You can kind of see how we have distant trees kind of fading off into the background now, and we've blended in the bottoms of them. We still have some work to do on some of the close foreground trees, so we're gonna add more bark texture, but basically I faded out the edges to make it less contrast and added more contrast to the base of the center of the trees for the really close ones. So that's where we've got the black stripes in there. And then we're gonna be adding the bark texture tomorrow. So you can kind of see, if we back up here, you can kind of see how fall and winter kind of match each other for the amount of distant trees. And yeah, we're gonna do the foreground trees next / tomorrow. And then we're gonna have a fox, which I have chalked in, and we're gonna have a snowy owl on this branch. So I don't know which video those will end up when I edit this, but they are coming and it's exciting. Okay, we have another overcast, awesome day to work in, and I took a break from the texture of bark because, it was just a lot. So we're ripping off the Band-Aid and we're getting that texture in for the whole winter section. So we're doing this for all of the trees that were kind of bigger than my forearm. And it's kind of funny because baby boy's getting quite big in this picture. You can really kind of see it when it's warm now and I don't have as many layers on. But and then doing the snow is so fun. So I really wanted to try and create a bit of variation in the tree of how the snow is wrapping around, and especially, get that branch loaded there. And it was just so fun painting snow. It was great. And I'm just putting it in random places on the ground by dragging the brush with really thick snow over the ground. And that technique seemed to work out pretty well. So here you can see the snowy owl is in, but we are going to save that part for the next video that's going to come out to detail the animal. And for this, we're just going to finish up the background. So I am working on lettering my logo in here. I'm using a really thin liner brush, and this was really hard to do, especially being so pregnant. Lettering is the worst, in my opinion. There's lots of muralists that love it, but I would much rather paint an animal than find black lines that take a lot of time. So it looks simple, like somebody just wrote it, but with paint, it's just so much edging, and to keep it really crisp, and also to make sure that it's level and not on a slant, and to make sure your letters are all the same size, and you really can't go back. But it's pretty close to my signature logo that I did in Illustrator for it. And I also had this crack in the middle of the area that I wanted to sign the painting, which was annoying. But I'm trying to put the wildlife art on either side of the crack so I don't have to paint over it for the bottom part of the letter, because these letters are so small and it would just look ridiculous. Like, you really gotta paint big to hide this kind of texture. Oh, one thing I'm also going to add to the painting here that you can see is some cross-country skiers up the path. So I wanted to give a subtle nod to all the winter activities that you can also do in the Bruce Peninsula, as a lot of people visit in the summer and fall. So yeah, we just wanted to put in some little silhouettes here, kind of fade out the edges, and yeah, kind of did them the same size as I did the scuba divers over in the diving section. So we have little small people in the beginning section of the mural and also the last section of the mural. One thing I did include, because there's only so much detail you can put in a small white animal here that really kind of blends in with the snow, is Wiarton Willy. So here we have a little groundhog pointing out, and Wiarton Willy is famous in Wiarton and is our signature of spring or winter will it continue. So I wanted to put him here halfway through winter, as it's an event that a lot of people look forward to in this region. And this is going to conclude our video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We are going to end with some clips from next week's video where we continue painting the mural. So I hope you enjoy this sneak peek footage, and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the video next week. We'll see you soon.